Good afternoon, everybody, from Farm and Sugartown Sweets and Treats. Today what I'm getting ready for is I'm waxing 20 deep frame hives. Some of them have been semi-waxed in the past, but they're not waxed as well as I want them to be, edge to edge. I didn't have the equipment to do that in the past. I had to heat my wax up in the microwave. So it really didn't work out very well. But my wife has given me this crock pot now that she uses Instapots, and as you can see, I'm going to tilt this over, it is full of melted wax ready to go. So now what we're going to do, everything is prepared, and if you haven't seen the beeswax, I buy the beeswax in 20-pound sacks, and it looks like little pea pellets, tiny little pellets. And this is who I get it from. It's called Beeswax. Product uses candle making and other things, so it does quite a few other things. Like I said, I get it in 20-pound packages, and it does a great job. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and keep in mind when you're doing this, this wax is hotter than the blue blazes, so you want to be extremely careful. But like some of the other club members have stated in the past, they like to use the roller system, which I have done. I just didn't have a big enough pot to make it effective, but I have it now. So we're not going to waste a lot of time, and the reason I'm doing all these frames is I'm running 2 deeps on all my hives out here now. And I've got 2 and 3 supers on some of them, and the second deep is extremely full of honey. So what I want to do in preparation for next year is, as soon as I open these hives up the next time, which is going to be as soon as the weather permits, we got rain coming for the next 5 days, so today was a perfect day to prep these and get them ready. But what I'm going to do is pull 4 frames from each of my top brood boxes of honey and take them, and then I'm going to put the new frames in there dead center where I take the other ones from, and leave the bees the rest of the year. We're only May 6th, I think, if I'm not mistaken, today, so they've got a lot of time until winter comes to fill these 4 frames in and keep adding to my supers. But this gives me the frames that I'm going to use to extract the honey out. And once I extract the honey, I'll put them out there to let the bees clean them up. But then I'll use them next year when I add my new hives, so all of them will get fully drawn out frames, whether it be a nuke or whether it, be a swarm that I catch. And that way the bees have a serious head start, and they don't have to do anything but polish the hives up and start putting in the wax and let the queen get busy and put in the honey for my new hives. So when I put my nuke in, I'll have 5 frames already, but then I'm going to have 5 frames of drawn out comb to quickly throw in there so they can create that young hive as quickly as possible. And that's the plan for all of this. Now also, a lot of times while I'm doing this, I'll take it and clean up the inside of the box, and if there's a part that looks like it needs a re-waxing, I'll touch that up. But this is quick and easy. Now we have this new system with the proper equipment, thanks to Instapot and my wife no longer needing this, and I can go edge to edge on these frames and get waxed very well, as opposed in the past where I was trying to paint it in there and not being able to get it edge to edge. But that helps the bees out quite a bit. That way they have this ready to go wax to start drawing out comb. And this makes it really simple, doing it this way. And then once I'm done with the crock pot for the day, I just turn it off and set it underneath the table here and let it sit till I need it again, and it's ready to go. I made sure all of my frames were fully stapled together well. I had no issues. Those little nails, I don't use those anymore. They don't hold the frames together. They slide right out when you're pulling it out. So I got away from that as quickly as possible this year, as soon as I discovered that the frames fall apart. So that one's done. We let it cool. As you can see, here's what we have now. We have a fully waxed frame ready to go. So it's a quick down and dirty to get 20 of them and set them off to the side and prepare. Now, if I was doing this strictly for my bottom boxes, I would focus on the black frames, the black foundations. That way I could, have a good chance of seeing the eggs. The yellow frames are a little bit more difficult, especially for me. I'm colorblind, so the black helps out, and that's what everybody recommends if you want to be able to look for the queen's laying pattern for eggs and things like that. And as you can see, the bees are coming up here. They smell this wax, and I also, when I do the wax, I put old foundation wax in here, and that way it gives it a smell of previous use by bees, and they really like that. They call that a dead out. That there may have been a hive before, and the bees can smell that, and that's what brings them into your swarm traps and things like that. And it'll also draw them up. Of course, these girls won't have any problem being drawn up. I'm only snatching 4 frames from each of the box that has 10 in them. So, they're already going to be up there, and they'll just go to work refilling these new ones fairly quickly. So that's what's going on today, without a lot of wasted time for you. You see what I'm doing. I'll have these prepared in no time, and weather permitting, we'll be out there opening these hives. I got 5 days of projected bad weather, so hopefully next Monday we can get out there and do this and get these things processed. So if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a question. I'll do my best to answer. And that's it for the day. So join us again in the future, and we look forward to seeing you, and say hi to all the girls flying around here.